just gave away boom and I didn't have a camera on. But it was close.
I just slid down on my shoes.
It was close though.
It's W&J, the only way to travel every day. YouTube's finest nonsense, if you want to say Wendell and Jessica are the best. Hey, hey, come on now, you know it already. It's W&J, the only way to travel every day.
We're going to the Atlantis Submarine. Little postcard they gave us. I thought it was pretty cool.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're here sitting in the Marriott Hotel lobby. We're waiting on our Atlantis Submarine. This is our next tour that we're going to do. It was a little confusing to us, but we called several times and they helped us find it and get parking. But here we are and we're waiting, and yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. All right.
Nonsense. Let's go check out some sea life. Atlantis Submarine. Let's get this party started. That's awesome.
That was the place in the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous.
We got to get on this boat to get to the submarine.
Yes.
That's awesome. We get 2 boat rides today.
Co-pilot down there. Now please don't get up out of your seats until we're tied up here. It's going to get a little rocky while we're getting tied up. Captain Melinda's going to board you, so please stay seated until she calls on you, okay? Now, that's about all I got for boarding and safety. Anybody got any questions for me about any of that stuff? Anybody celebrating today? Birthdays? Anniversaries? Divorce?
Would you? Brody in the water.
Don't hand that to me all the way. Now we're already getting into the reef here in just a moment. We're going to start to see some fish. We're going to start to see a bunch of coral. If you look up next to me, over my right shoulder here, on the port side, we have everybody sitting on the port side here. We have this digital depth monitor. This is going to tell you how much water is above our heads throughout the dive. We have another one by our co-pilot Maddie in the back on the starboard side. And once again, that's going to tell you how much water is above our heads. Those sensors are right on the deck there of the submarine. So at all times, we're going to be about 5 feet deeper than what this says. But this is going to be your number, what's above us. If you're used to meters, I'm not sure where everybody's from here, you can divide that by 3. And that's going to give you almost exactly what we're at until we cross over 100 feet. So if you're used to meters, just divide this number by 3. That's going to tell you how many meters we're at. But look at that. We've made it into the reef. We're at about 70 feet right now, probably about 80 feet total depth. And colors are already showing up much different down here. A lot of the coral we're seeing, actually all of it, is very bright and beautiful. We have just about a 25-acre dive site here in the Kailua Bay. Among that 25 acres, we have something like 698 different species of fish. Those fish bars in front of you, both sides of them, there are several different species. Those are going to be the primary ones we will see. But anything that's not on those, feel free to scream it out. I'll get you an answer to any question you may have. I know all those fish, 698 of them. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're already looking at 2 different schools of fish. Those yellow and blue fish out there. Those are the ta'ape, or the blue-striped snappers. I'll talk about those guys in a second. I want to cover the owama. Those fish over the sandy patch there, kind of smaller, translucent in color. Those are the goatfish, or the owama. Now, we're going to see some more throughout the dive, and if we run into another school, I want you to keep your eyes out on the front of that school. You may be able to spot the leader. Does anybody know what the leader of the owama is called? Barack Obama?
Oh, look at that.
Okay, you didn't find that funny. I hate to tell you, my jokes are bad, okay? They're only going to get worse. The goatfish, or the owama, and the blue-striped snappers, two of our most common schooling species we have down here. We're probably going to see a lot of those guys on the dive side today. There are thousands of them on the reef out there. Now, the blue-striped snappers, yellow and blue is their primary colors. They're going to be very bright, very beautiful. Those guys are not from Hawaii. They were introduced to the Hawaiian waters during the late 1950s. During that time, Hawaii was in the process of becoming a state. There was a large population boom. Along with that came a need for food. So those fish were kind of dumped into the water as a source of food. There was a couple things that happened to those fish when they were dumped into the Hawaiian waters here. Over in the south, you start to see these big boulders. This is going to kind of signify the edge of our coral reef. And I'll explain that. All of our reef here is the 25 acres. It's sitting right on top of an ancient lava flow. Mount Hualalai erupted about 18,000 years ago. Left this big lava spillage down the west side about 10,000 years ago. When the water levels rose enough to cover up a lot of that lava flow, that's when our reef started to grow. So our entire coral reef is about 10,000 years old. Now that might seem pretty old, but geologically it's very young. There are parts of, like the Great Barrier Reef, for example, have over 1 million years of growth on it. But here in Kona, our reef is about 10,000 years old, so pretty much where that lava flow stops, that's where all of our reef is going to stop. As we get deeper, it's harder for the natural sunlight to penetrate, which is why a lot of this coral hasn't grown over all this lava rock that we're looking at right now. When we go shallower than we're at, you know, where we drop that 50, 60 feet, all of our reef is sitting on top of what we're looking at right now. These big, giant, massive boulders, this is all lava flow. But the coral has been able to grow and cover up all that lava flow in the shallower depths because the more natural sunlight that it's getting up there grows a lot faster than it does down in depth. In the most perfect of conditions, the species of coral we have here, it grows about 1/4 of an inch per year. So deeper we get, that number becomes less and less and less. They estimate that at this depth we're at, about 85 feet, coral only grows about 1/8 of an inch every 4 years. So it takes an extremely long time to grow, which is why this coral is very, very young looking down here. But here we go, folks. This is our first shipwreck in the distance out there. This is the Predator. This is a Higgins-style landing craft that sank in 1996. This is the same model of boat that was used to storm the beaches of Normandy in World War II. This particular boat never actually saw any time in the war, but it was purchased at a military auction by an ex-Navy SEAL. He bought this boat with the plans of having a shark cage diving business in the Kailua Bay. He actually installed that big crane in the center himself. It's what he was going to use to drop cages in and out of the water. Now, I'll tell you, has anybody seen a shark out here yet? Tends to be pretty rare, unless there's a source of food. So, this gentleman had a unique business plan. He started chumming the water in Kailua Bay, throwing a bunch of blood and fish guts into the bay here to draw in those large predatory sharks to the area, which in turn was teaching them feeding habits in the bay here. Now, Kailua Bay is a very active, recreationally used bay. We have tons of swimmers in the bay, paddleboarders. We hold the Ironman tournament here. So all in all, it was a terrible idea to teach large predatory sharks feeding habits in Kailua Bay. Well, of course, this worked. There was a massive uptick in shark sightings and shark attacks. Business was booming for this guy. Well, it just so happens that a particularly vengeful local guy got attacked by a shark. They figured out that this guy was chumming up the water, drawing in those sharks, and they were pretty upset by that. So a few weeks after the fact, the gentleman and his brother-in-law came out and they shot holes in the deck of the boat, and they sank it. If you scuba dive this wreck, you go right underneath the bow, what we're looking at right now. You can see the holes all along the bottom side of the deck that were shot in the deck that eventually ended up sinking this boat. Now, in 1996, we were operating the 2 days that this boat was sinking. It took about 48 hours in total for this boat to sink. The morning of, when the holes got shot in the deck of the boat, we had a pilot offshore that kind of saw all this go down, Mr. Tomo Rogers, an absolute legend of a pilot. He just retired about 2 months ago. He saw this whole thing, and guess what? He knew this captain. He gave him a call and he said, "Hey man, someone just blasted holes in your boat. Don't know who they are, but your boat's sinking." And the captain said, "Well, I'm going to let it sink then. Somebody wanted to vandalize my boat. I'm going to let it sink. I'm going to make an insurance claim, get a big payout." Well, what that captain failed to remember or understand or realize, whatever the case, his boat was full of fuel, oil, petroleum products, lubricants, leaked into the water, killed off a bunch of coral and fish. So this captain not only was denied an insurance claim, but he was fined about $300,000 for letting his boat sink out here. On top of that, he lost the boat itself, lost his business, and his captain's license. So an overall massive mistake to just let your boat sink out here, especially when it's full of fuel and oil. But pretty cool for Atlantis, I'd say. Now we got a cool shipwreck to look at. You know, we actually have 2 shipwrecks. We're going to go to the other one right after this. But we got both of our wrecks here without having to pay $1, which might sound like a joke, but Atlantis operates at several different sites around the world. Cozumel, Mexico, Aruba, Barbados, Cayman Islands, Guam. We've paid millions of dollars to sink things like this offshore to have our artificial reef to look at. We've sank planes, cars, boats, trains, office buildings, a bunch of different things so that we have a massive artificial reef. They've actually dropped these massive pieces of shelving down that grow coral all over them and stuff. But here in Kona, we got 2 wrecks without having to pay $1, so we kind of lucked out. Very, very good. But they're hard to catch. Those grand-eyed emperor fish have impeccable eyesight. They're near impossible to catch with a fishing pole. Really, the only way to get one is to spear one. Oh, there we go. That bright blue and turquoise fish there, that is a male parrotfish. All the rest of the parrotfish kind of look like them. They have that stripe down the middle, darker in the front, lighter in the back. Those are the parrotfish. Those are the guys that produce all that sand we have out there. I'm also seeing a Moorish idol here. That's Gil from Finding Nemo, if you have seen that movie. He's got those yellow and black bars going up his side. Looks like he's got a big string hanging off his fin. That is the Moorish idol. Now, that blue and turquoise male parrotfish, they're not born with those colors. In fact, all parrotfish are born female. At some point during their lifespan, the most aggressive of the harem that they're born with gets a massive natural boost in testosterone and turns into a male. They are a hermaphroditic species, all born as a female, but at some point one of the brood will turn into a male, and that's when they develop that bright blue and turquoise color. Their one job biologically is to be a distraction to predators, so they're supposed to use that coloring to draw the predatory fish away from their female friends. But after all, I'm under a lot of pressure down here.
Oh, there we go.
All right, here we go, folks. The lady. This is a sailboat style vessel. It was sailed over here in 1986, about 10 years before our last wreck. This was the first shipwreck we had on the big island here. This boat was sailed over all the way from the coast of Alaska, about 6,000 miles, a little over. It was sailed over here by a husband and wife. They sailed this boat from Alaska with the plans of retiring. Oh, look at that ulua, big silver guy, just kind of swam underneath the sub there. Big silver fish. That is the giant trevally, or the ulua. He's hiding right under us right now. They use our submarine to hunt. So at the end of the dive, when we land, oh, here he goes up the starboard side right now. He's going to swim in front of our pilot. But those big ulua, they use our submarine here to hunt. So they kind of use us like a Trojan horse. Every now and then they'll swim under us. They wait to find some fish that they want to eat, and they'll swim out. But back to the wreck. Anyway, so this boat was sailed over in 19... Oh, look at those guys. 2 of them out there. Holy cow. Oh, yeah. If we see those guys, there's going to be no sharks, I promise you. Those are the only predator to sharks that we have out here. Those ulua will kill any species of shark that comes around them. If you look at their head, it's very rounded at the top. They have a massive bone underneath their skin there.
Wow.
Wow.
They use that bone like a battering ram. So they'll swim full speed at anything that threatens them, and they'll smash into it. Those guys can swim about 24 miles an hour underwater. Sorry about those guys. But let's get back to the wreck here. So when the husband and wife arrived on island here, the husband got a family emergency call. He flew out of the Kona airport back to Alaska, and he left his wife here with the boat for several weeks. Sometime after he departed, his wife discovered that down in their wooden galley there was a big termite infestation. Now there are a couple of different ways to deal with termites, the primary being to smoke them out. She decided she was going to do this herself by lighting up a signal flare. Signal flares burn at about 3,000 degrees, wood burns at about 300 degrees. So when she lit up that signal flare trying to smoke her galley out, she caught the galley on fire. That fire spread throughout the hole into a fuel and or propane storage, caused a big explosion on board, sinking her boat. Now, she was okay. She jumped overboard, she swam to a nearby boat on a mooring that was called the Tamaray. At the time, the Tamaray was a booze cruise, and it was rather late at night when she did all this. So when she got aboard, there was no crew on the Tamaray. She reveled through the boat, found that they had a big liquor storage down there, and helped herself to it. When the crew from the Tamaray got there in the morning, they found her on the deck wearing nothing but a smile. Well, they call this wreck here the Naked Lady. But if you just felt that touchdown, that was our touchdown at the deepest point in our dive here. If you wanted to snap a picture of the depth gauge, now would be the time.
100 feet.
When we're clear to surface, that will be the fastest part of the dive. We're going to surface in a matter of seconds from whatever depth that they clear us from there. But in the meantime, sit back and relax. Enjoy the view.
I tried. Do you get him? That's awesome.
And look at that, we are topside. Boom, couple seconds there.
Oh, baby, a little box bit up there. That's cool.
Thank you guys. Thanks for coming out, folks. Appreciate you.
Thanks, partner. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming out, folks. Appreciate you
problem.
guys. Oh, thanks, my man. I appreciate that.
That's pretty cool.
Glad you liked
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
Of course, thank you for coming out, guys.
Hello, hello.